Hey everybody. This is the first live video chat thing we're doing, and it's called Batty Chatty, and we're going to be talking about our favorite villains and monsters and favorite kills. I am going to have a guest here. Can get him on here. Oh, there he is. Hey.
Hello. Brought my coffee like a good talk show host.
Hey, Amber. Yeah, no, Darren and I were talking, and we were just thinking, hey, we should do some live videos and asking the members what they think about different topics, and we just thought it was something that might be fun that you guys would like. So here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. So welcome and thank you for joining. I'm trying to read too. Anyway, yeah, we wanted to do a list of favorite villains and monsters and kills, and we wanted to bring you guys. Huh?
Got them written down.
Oh yeah, I've got mine written.
Got everything written down.
Lots and lots written down.
Hi all. How's everyone doing?
Hey everybody.
So she gets the big screen. I get the little corner.
Yeah. Well, last time I had the little one.
Yes, that's true. And starting Friday, you'll probably have it too. But it's a trade-off. Yeah. It's a trade-off. This is your show.
What's everybody doing out there? First off, I wanted to say we are having a scavenger hunt. I don't know how many of you guys out there have entered. There's only been about 4 entries, and the scavenger hunt is a scavenger hunt, and so you just have to take pictures of different things, and the rules and everything are in the units portion of the group, but we have some really, really cool prizes, and I wanted to show you.
Very cool. Guys. They're cool prizes. What's up, all?
The grand prize winner gets to choose between this awesome Pennywise bust.
That's cool.
Handmade.
That's badass.
By one of our members, Tom Cook. Or
now, when Faith No More asked, "It's it. What is it?" That's it.
Or this awesome Stay Puft Man. The grand prize winner gets to choose their pick out of the 2. So then the second prize winner gets the one they didn't choose, and then we will have a 3rd and 4th prize winner, but I don't have those prizes to show you right. But these are the 2 grand prizes, so enter, because there's not been that many.
It's going to be a good contest. Enter.
Yeah. All right, so we want to get right into our list.
What do you want to do first?
I don't know. Let's see here. Why don't you do a kill?
Why don't I pick?
Yeah, why don't you pick?
Okay. Well, let's see. If you're going to put it on me, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start out this way. One of the things that Erica and I talked about was talking about, and since we all love horror, we all know that we're paying attention to these things. Top kills in horror films. Now, there are way too many to choose from, and we have so much time to get into all of them that Erica and I ran through a little list, and we got a nice little list of about 10. She's got more, but that's because I just couldn't think of anything. The brain wasn't working. So for the ones that I did get, these are the ones that I thought were pretty awesome and would love everybody's input to see whether you agree or disagree, and we're going to build up this list as we go. And this is going to carry over Friday into blowing off steam in the horror punk steam wagon gang. So I'll be pushing that later. But first, here's what I came up with. Now, Gretchen actually pulled up one of the kills that I had on my list. Yes, when Freddie killed Johnny Depp. That was pretty fucked up. In fact, what I'm going to even say is when I first saw that movie, that was the one death that gave me the worst nightmares. Watching him get yanked into that bed and then just watching that fountain of blood spit right up. And, you know, for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, which by this point I don't know who on here hasn't, that was a messed up death. That messed me up. And I was actually, I think I was in 8th grade? No. Yeah, I was in, no. Came out in 82. Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 82. I would have been 10, 11. Yeah, about that. So I was a kid when I watched it. And, you know, what parent lets their kid watch A Nightmare on Elm Street? Mine. Anyway. So, continuing on with the list of deaths. All right. The top.
Yeah, I was doing the Freddy dragging Tina across the ceiling, Sandy. That was mine.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. She even told me about it. I actually had the message where she pointed it out. So that was actually one of them.
Yeah, no, the time I saw that, and he's dragging her across the ceiling, you know, and when her top comes up and the knife cuts happen and there's nothing cutting her, and it's just like, whoa. I mean, it was just crazy.
Hey, girl.
But yeah, no, it was, yeah, I loved that one.
That was a good one. Now, I think we can all agree. We have to be able to agree on this. And I know Erica would agree with me on this, but I still think the top kill of all time, and this is my opinion, was the chest burster scene from Alien.
That's one of the tops. Absolutely.
It's when I first watched it. Yeah. When I first watched that movie, I covered my eyes. I didn't even watch the scene. I watched the whole movie, but I didn't watch that scene. Of course, I was also, let's see, I lived in Florida for the first time. It was about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned to watch Alien or horror films when I was young. Okay, yeah. Or kind of remind her of Negan from The Walking Dead. I'm just going to start dressing up as Negan when I start doing these live feeds.
You should.
I really should. So the next one that I had up there, and this is subject to discussion, but this is my favorite horror film of all time, was from The Thing, when the dog was changing in the kennel.
Yeah, that was
Would
crazy.
You consider that? Because I don't know. What do you think?
That was super crazy.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite in The Thing was when they're trying to work on the guy and the doc's hands go in his chest and it eats his arms, and then, you know, and then they're like all freaking out because they're like, oh shit, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're spraying it with fire, and then his head comes off and walks away. That to me is my very favorite of The Thing.
Oh, the Norris thing. Yeah, that one. That was awesome. I could pass for Negan. Okay, I'm gonna put a poll up after we're done with this, or if you could, and say who thinks Darren looks like Negan, or does Darren? Because I'm already seeing that. I'm already seeing a lot of that. That's right, Paul. The Thing is the best film ever. My sentiments exactly. Okay. Now, I'm going to pick out a kill here that I told Erica about. It's an obscure one, But if you've seen the movie, you know it's a fucked up death. Who has seen the movie Galaxy of Terror?
I've not.
The maggot scene. I'm not going to say what it was, but if you know, if you all out there know what scene I'm talking about, don't ruin it for her. I don't know if she's going to want to see it or not, but it was really messed up. I saw it when I was young, and that scene really messed me up. But there is a scene where a maggot grows in size and attacks one of the crew members and kills her. And I specifically use the word her. So it was pretty twisted. Moving on. Yes, my next one on the list, and we've already addressed this, was the Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp. Anthony, the Long Island accent comes from me actually living on Long Island. True statement. So, next death. I actually happen to think that this is a quality death. Was in Hellraiser. At the end of the film, when they recapture Frank and he's looking like the husband, and he's got all these hooks in his body, pulling him left and right. And all he does is he just looks and just says, Jesus wept. That was a badass death. That was a badass death. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, I can't remember what Robert Shaw's character's name was in the film, but Jaws.
When?
The first one. At the end, when Jaws attacks the boat and grabs Robert Shaw's character. I can't remember what his name was, but that was a pretty... Quinn. That's right, Quinn. I've seen a movie so many times. You'd think I'd remember that. Kate is watching Hellraiser tonight. Good call. Good call.
Always a good.
Yeah. In fact, I tried watching Hellraiser 2 one night after I watched Hellraiser, and man, did the inconsistencies in that film pop out. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Okay, here's one. Now, George A. Romero, all right, master when it came to zombies. The first biker gang member that got killed in Dawn of the Dead when they raided the mall. The very first time that they ever showed a zombie rip a human being apart alive. That did it.
Pretty crazy.
What's that?
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm surprised there wasn't more blood, but it was messed up. I mean, watching a zombie pull people apart, it took me a while to get adjusted to that because it was just like wow, what am I watching here? And the same thing even when in Day of the Dead. And I actually have a death in Day of the Dead was when Rhodes gets killed. When Bub chases him and he opens the door and turns around and all those zombies are waiting in the warehouse, and then he just gets pulled apart from the legs and the torso, and yeah, that took me a long time to get. It's funny, I remember when I first saw it, I saw Day of the Dead in the movies, only it wasn't in theater. My father took us to see Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome at a drive-in. So while they're watching Mad Max, my brother and I are turned around watching Day of the Dead on the screen across the lot. We couldn't hear shit because we didn't have the radio for that movie in our car, but I would have loved it. But, you know, nowadays, I just watch it for the hell of it. So I also picked from Phantasm the scene where the Undertaker, who is chasing Michael, gets the spear caught in his head. And the drill just goes right through between his eyes. You've never seen Phantasm?
Seen Phantasm.
Oh, Erica. You run one of the biggest horror groups on Facebook. If you haven't seen Phantasm?
I've never seen Phantasm.
Okay, everybody watching, please tell Erica she needs to see Phantasm. Tell her she needs to see Phantasm. You want to talk about the tall man? You want to talk about the tall man? You got to see him in action. You must see Phantasm.
No, I mean, you know, clips and different stuff, and I know bits and pieces. I've never watched it. I've never sat down and watched the entire thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I have bits and pieces, just
great
not
movie.
the whole thing.
It's a great movie. You really got to watch that movie. I mean, I'll tell you what, even in 2018, and that film was made in 1979, that movie still holds up. I mean, beautifully. It really does.
Yeah. To me, I just keep thinking, like, well, I've got a treat in store for me because I haven't seen it yet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That kind of thing. Because it is kind of cool when you, like, stumble across something like, oh, man, I haven't seen, you know.
Look at Brian saying, Erica, like, what the hell?
Oh, I know.
But yeah, no, if you get it, you Phantasm is one of those movies because of, you know, the cult standing with the tall man. You have to watch it. Your mind will be blown. It really is such an amazing film. And it was, when I watch it, I put it up there with Alien as far as the level of these films being ahead of their time.
Yeah.
But the idea behind Phantasm was wild. So it's you will love it. You will absolutely love it.
No, I'm sure I will.
Okay. So the final kill that I had on this list was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre when Leatherface is chasing Sally and Franklin, and in order to save herself, Sally pushes Franklin right towards Leatherface and right into his chainsaw. Now, I would have picked the scene at the beginning when Leatherface captured the girl and put her on the hook, but the thing about the Franklin scene was you didn't see the blood. You didn't see any of it. You just heard him screaming, and you saw him from the back, so you knew what was going on. That's sometimes more frightening than what you do see. That just, it killed me. That just freaked me out. That really freaked me out. Okay, that's my kill list. And I know that everybody has, you know, other kills. So what I would say is for people who have specific kills that they want to mention, either PM Erica or myself. Yes, I am in the group, just in case you're wondering. Either PM Erica or myself with any of these kills, and we'll go through them.
Yeah, I wanted to mention the Wendy Banjo death that I love so much from the Devil's Reject. You know, when she goes through this horrible night of hell, her entire, you know, her husband's dead, her friend's dead, everybody's dead. She's hung on a hook behind the door. The maid finds her, gets her down. She's running, you know, with her husband's face still like on her face, and you think she's gonna get away, and boom, a semi runs her over. I mean, that to me was a great death.
Oh, it really was.
It was just like unexpected because you didn't really expect a truck to run her over.
Well, what's funny was when I saw the movie the first time, that was the one death that really stuck out in my mind. And when I saw it again, I was just waiting for it to happen again.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, that was like. That was like cruel.
Too, but that one was just like, whoa! I thought she was gonna get away, and she didn't.
Yeah. No, that's a Rob Zombie film. Nobody gets away. Just ask Rainn Wilson in House of a Thousand Corpses. Fish boy. You know, every time I watched The Office, I kept finding it very hard to believe that Rainn Wilson was in that. And a lot of people don't seem to remember that Chris Hardwick, who does Talking Dead. He does Talking Dead. He was the other guy in that.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it's like, wow. So, but anyway, so those are the kills that we brought up today. I think it was what we could think of at the time. But with your help and just letting us know, I mean, God knows how many horror films. I mean, you could use every kill in the Saw movies, you know, but it's the specific ones. it's a specific one.
I also brought up Jed's death in Pet Cemetery.
Yes.
Because he had a great death. I mean, it was a sad death, but I mean, and the reason I don't go with Gage's death is here's another semi-death again, but I mean, I go with Jed's because I just thought it was better. Like it was a cool death. The other one, you know, you're running over a toddler with a truck. That's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But the other one was like, oh yeah, that's, you know, oh, I don't want him to die, but he slashes him in his Achilles tendon, and he slashes him across the face. I mean, you know, he turned into a Joker. I mean, it was really cool.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
And then, of course, I always liked Linda's death in the first Halloween. When
PJ Souls.
Yes. When, you know, she's like, oh, you know, where's my beer? And, you know, she turns around and she's like, oh, screw you. And she gets on the phone and she's talking and he just chokes her out. I always just thought that was so cool.
That was creepy. I mean, listen, the number of horror movies that there are. I mean, you can take The Maid from The Omen.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You can talk about the priest from The Omen, or you know, when the light strikes the top of the cathedral and the spire just drops right through him. I mean, there's so many things you could point out. There's no possible way we would have gotten through all those kills on this. So everybody, PM Erica, PM me.
13th, yeah, that one's a good one too.
The sleeping bag death. Pardon me. That reminds me of choking. No, that reminds me of a long time ago. There's a John Frankenheimer film out called Prophecy with Robert Foxworth, Talia Shire, and Armand Assante. And there's a scene where, if anybody's seen the movie or anybody knows the movie, a local factory is dumping mercury into the waters, and it's creating mutant creatures. So the movie is these people being chased by this mutant bear. And there's a scene where this family is camping and this bear is tearing through all of them. And one of the kids is stuck in the sleeping bag and can't get the zipper open. So I can't remember if it was a he or she, but she starts hopping away. And all you see is the thing go after it, pick it up. And all you see is the sleeping bag go up with the person's face in it and just come right down. And feathers go flying up. It may not seem too brutal, but when you watch it and you don't expect it, it's a painful thing to watch. It's always the deaths you can't see, not the ones you can. Those are the ones that are messed up. So, with that, we've touched on the kills. So now we've got an even bigger topic.
Oh yeah.
Monsters versus villains. And I say monsters versus villains because there's a difference between monsters and villains. Even though monsters are villains, we're not talking about them as one. We're splitting them up. So, you got your list with you, Erica?
Oh, I have my list right here.
You start.
I'm going to go with monsters. I'm going to go with monsters first. And of course, my number one monster is The Thing. Just because that monster is absolutely terrifying.
The Thing?
Yes, because you don't know where it is. Yeah, I mean, you can't. The reason The Thing is so terrifying for me is because it can hide and look like somebody that, you know, is supposed to be your friend or your family or your dog or anything, and you can't tell you can't tell it's a thing, and then all of a sudden it's gonna get you, and that's super terrifying for me. So The Thing is like my number one monster.
And The Thing is my number one monster also. I absolutely love the idea that this monster can look like anything because eventually it's going to look like a human being or whatever it is. Now, I'm going to throw this out next to the John Carpenter version of The Thing because I was disappointed in the 2011 remake not remake. I'm sorry. Prequel. The creatures were so generic in that there was nothing about any of them that were surprising. You never knew. You didn't care what they were going to look like because they all looked the same. I think whoever was in charge of the effects really lost sight of what the thing really was. Because if you go back and look at what Rob Bottin did in the John Carpenter version, you had no idea what it was going to look like next. I mean, it wasn't even just what it was, it's what it wasn't. And you could just see anything. See, taking Erica's favorite kill scene from the thing was when Norris got killed.
Yeah.
I love the idea that the thing wasn't just one thing. And that was evident when his head stretched off and turned into a spider. That was amazing. I mean, that was just absolutely amazing. You know, it didn't have a form. It did when it was done transforming, but it didn't have a form. It never had a form. It was what it wanted you to see. That to me was just amazing, and it still holds up. You know, if you look at the CGI in the new version, they stunk. You could tell they weren't real. But, you know, I'm biased.
I prefer practical effects.
Me too.
I mean, I just do. You know, I've not seen the Human Centipede franchise either there, Richard. I've stayed I've just heard so many people say so many horrible things about him. I don't know that I want to watch him. I know I'll end up watching him sooner or later. I just haven't done it.
If it means anything, I've only seen the first one. And it for what it is, it's gross, but the movie didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. Now, that being said, I'm not wasting my time with the second or third because those are just gratuitous.
Right.
I mean, really gratuitous. You know, pointless even. So, okay. That is creature number one.
So then my second, you know, I mean, and these weren't really written down in any particular order except the thing was the first because, I mean, I wrote them down in kind of like how they came to my mind. So, I mean, it isn't like an order as in first, last, whatever. But my second is the Xenomorph, you know, from Aliens. And those were just so cool. I mean, they are, not but they are just such cool monsters because, I mean, they're beautiful for one, but they're, you know, they are fast moving, they're deadly, they're, you know, I mean, just, you know, then you've got face huggers that are going to get your face and then implant their little embryo in you, and then you're going to have a chest burster come out of you. I mean, it's just, they're scary. They're super scary. So.
Yep. They're nasty little buggers. And they are, without a doubt, the most, in my mind, next to the Thing, I think it was the most unique movie monster that was ever made. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before. And just the creature in nature itself was just so unique and so complex. I love the design. Now, I'm also biased there because I'm a huge H.R. Giger fan.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of, you know, if you've read any of his, you know, his books or looked at any of his art books, he creates some of the strangest shit I've ever seen. It's just that style really brought that creature to life. I mean, he's got a few creatures out there. He's got the vomit monster from Poltergeist 2 was his design.
Really?
Yeah, you have Syl from the Species series.
Yeah, no, I like that.
He actually, it's funny, he actually was once asked to design some stuff for one of the Batman movies that was directed by Joel Schumacher, which thank God he didn't, because that would have been good artwork wasted on a bad movie.
Oh, that's right. The Creature from Species, too.
Yeah. So, so I agree. Alien, the Alien is right up there. And I'll even throw in the Alien Queen. Nobody ever saw that.
Yeah.
That was a nasty looking monster too. And they're iconic. They're absolutely iconic. They are probably one of the most well-known creatures that you'll see anywhere.
So let's see. Do we move on to the next one? Then I've got Frankenstein's monster, because he is just, I mean, Frankenstein's monster, I mean, come on. You know, he's awesome. I grew up with the old Universal classics, and, you know, I mean, I love all those monster movies, but, you know, he's just so cool. And, you know, Boris Karloff's one of my favorites anyway. And so, I mean, just, you know, you feel sympathy for that monster, but yet he's still scary in a way, because, you know, he's kind of out of control and wanting, you know,
he's a victim of his creation. I mean, he's a victim of his creator. You know, I mean, you play with fire, you get burned. And that's what, you know, that's what Dr. Frankenstein did, if that is what his name was. And he created this thing he couldn't control because he wanted to give life to something that was dead.
Right.
And look what happened.
Right.
You literally created a monster, and, you know, everybody else killed it because you couldn't.
Right.
You know, it's almost like creating art. It's like painting the perfect painting, but you hate it so much you can't bring yourself to destroy it. Somebody else will, but it's a waste. So, you know, I'm sorry, I'm getting too deep on too simple of topics here, aren't I?
It's okay.
Anyway.
Then of course I have to put Jaws in, because
Brucey.
Yeah, I gotta have my buddy Bruce on here, because I love Jaws, and I know some people don't consider.
Don't worry, Mark, we're getting there.
But, you know, as far as I'm concerned, any movie that can make no one want to swim even in their backyard pool is a horror movie. I mean, you know, it made people afraid of getting in their bathtub if their bathtub was kind of large. I mean, it was scary.
Yeah, it was.
But,
it's funny, because if you hear all the stories about the trouble that they had making that movie.
Yeah.
They had a defective shark.
But that actually made it better.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I agree.
The less you saw of the shark, the more scary it was.
Yep.
So let's see here. Let's go on. The next one was my very first Wolfman. That was the very first horror movie I ever saw, was Wolfman from 1941, and now of course I was 3 years old, but it gave me nightmares for several years. I thought the Wolfman was looking in my window at night, and, you know, oh, the Wolfman's gonna get me, Mom. And my mom was like, I should not have let her watch that. But, you know, they were like, oh, it's kind of corny. It's not gonna be a big deal, and they let me watch it anyway, and so that's what happened. But yeah, no, but the Wolfman or any actual werewolf, I love werewolf movies. I think they're awesome.
Well, since you're going to bring up the Wolfman, and I think werewolves, you kind of can match them up because they're both of, you know, lichen breed. I'm gonna give it to you and throw werewolves in there with Wolfman, and I'm gonna pull up two great ones when it comes to werewolves: is The Howling and An American Werewolf in London. I mean, you can't beat those transformations. I'm sorry. I actually happen to think that while the American Werewolf in London transformation was the best, it really was. Cheers to Rick Baker for that. I still think that the Howling transformation, the Eddie Quist Howling transformation, was scarier. It was darker, and some of the effects and the look of the creature was just frightening. Now, my opinion only, but I thought those were the two top werewolf movies because American Werewolf in Paris was garbage. They could have done that better. And Amber, I think I
don't mind it.
Just put my foot in my mouth. Sorry about that.
No, I don't mind it at all. I think it has its good comedy relief, and there's some funny parts. Compare the two. Excuse me. They don't necessarily match up.
Yeah.
The same caliber, but I mean, I think it has its place.
Yeah. Somewhere.
Somewhere high on the list for some, lower on the list for others.
Nowhere on the list for the few.
Of course.
Okay. Hi, Missy.
All right.
Ralph.
Next I've got Pumpkinhead. Because Pumpkinhead is one badass monster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like Pumpkinhead a lot.
You know, and a lot of people forget about Pumpkinhead.
I don't own that one yet. I gotta buy that one.
Yeah.
I do love movie monsters.
I love the first one. I've not seen the second one.
Well, Lance Henriksen, those, horror movie icons now, especially after, some of the stuff he's done. But, Pumpkinhead's great. I love that movie. I've only seen it once, too. I really need to get my ass into gear and watch it again. I need to buy it first so I can watch it. But Pumpkinhead's going on my list. That's one I definitely need to have in my. Yeah. For all the movies I have in my collection, how do I not have Pumpkinhead? I don't get that. Moving on.
Well, I saw people were saying Chud, so we're gonna mention Chud.
Yes.
Chud definitely needs to be mentioned because he's for sure scary. I mean, what's more scarier than some crazy humanoid thing in the sewer that's gonna get you,
Chud's a great movie. John Hurd and Daniel Stern got roles in the film, so. And I love how they say cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
Yeah.
Which is not what it was.
No.
I can't remember what they actually were. Contaminated something. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah. It's been a while for me, too. Let's hear. Next one, I gotta go Godzilla.
King of the Monsters.
I mean, who doesn't love Godzilla? I mean, I'm sure there's plenty that don't love him, but I absolutely love Godzilla. I particularly like the older ones better. I do like the newer films, but the less he looks like a lizard, the better to me. I mean, I just like it when he has that, classic roar. But I like the classic roar from like the 50s and 60s.
Well, that's when it was Godzilla.
Yeah. Then we've got Predator.
Yep.
You gotta have Predator.
Well, if you're gonna have Alien, you gotta have Predator.
Well, you gotta have Predator.
Yeah, got it.
In the first Predator, when he first removes that mask and he screams, oh my god, it was just ugh. I mean, it was I had no idea it was gonna look like that. I was just like, oh my god, that thing's really horrible looking.
Yes, it was, but it became very iconic.
Yeah.
You have three going on 4 individual Predator movies, not to mention 2 AVP movies. So the Predator gets his due. Yeah. The Predator, without a doubt, goes right up there. I mean, right next to the Alien, because that seems to be where movie monsters start to kind of converge, or at least in today's world of movie monsters, they're the ones that converge the most. You've seen they've got all kinds of comics. Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, Alien versus Predator versus Superman, Aliens versus Batman. I mean, aliens are fighting everything nowadays. I'm surprised they don't have Aliens versus the Muppets yet. Where's that one? You know?
They may make one.
Can you imagine a face hugger impregnating Miss Piggy? No. But I'd love to see it in a comic. But let's no, and with the new Predator movie coming out, which the trailer looks outstanding if you haven't seen it. Oh, it looks amazing. It absolutely looks amazing. And I love the fact that they're ramping it up. And I love the actors in it. They got a nice cast. Keegan Michael Key, Olivia Munn's in it, Thomas Jane is in it. If anybody watches Game of Thrones, Alfie Allen, it's going to be a good movie. That's going to be a good movie. But
all right, so
Predator for
sure. The next one I have would be Pennywise. And now the reason I put him in monsters rather than villains is because he's not really a person. You know, he's like some weird thing. So he's a monster to me. So I think he belongs on the monster list.
Oh, he is a monster.
Yeah.
He has an absolute shape or form, but considering he can do what he does, you know, he's everybody's fear.
Right.
That to me is a monster. That's not just a villain. That's a monster. So I am all on board with the monster for that. Well,
here, so let's see here. I see a lot of people putting Rawhide Rex. Yeah, he's for sure.
Clive Barker.
Absolutely. So, I've not seen those movies in forever.
Me either. Me either.
So, I don't have a whole lot to say about him other than he has a really scary look. But yeah, no, he definitely makes the list. The next one I had on the list was King Kong. And a lot of people, you know, some people might, he's action adventure, whatever, but he's still a big monster to me. And so he makes the list.
Big ass ape.
Yeah, so he makes the list. So then the next one would be the Creeper, which I know I saw some of you guys were putting the Creeper. The Creeper is a ass monster, and he absolutely creeps me out.
Well, listen, he's a creepy monster. Why the Creeper?
I mean, he's like super tough. You can't hardly kill him. He's got all these, you know, I mean, he's gonna eat you. He's virtually indestructible, and then he like goes dormant, and then he comes back. I mean, that's you know, the fact that he goes dormant is kind of like, oh well, if you can just last the certain amount of days, then you'll be okay. But I mean, you know, if he sniffs you out and wants you, you're kind of toast.
Yeah. So Don't pee yourself. Don't do anything, because if he smells that, he will find you.
Yeah.
You know, Amber, I want to answer Amber real quick. When you talk about the new Kong, are you talking about the Peter Jackson film or Skull Island? Because I'm actually one of those who loved the Peter Jackson King. I actually think one of the most hideous deaths in that movie was when Andy Serkis's character Cookie gets killed by those worms or whatever the hell they are. That was disturbing. That was a little disturbing to me. So I guess the question is, which King Kong is it? The first Creeper is the best. I'll tell you what, Jeepers Creepers 2 and 3 stunk, in my personal opinion. I thought the characters were shallow in the second one. I thought that they were just expendable in the third one. But the first one, because it was so low budget and low key, because it was really just two characters that they were following, I absolutely loved that. In fact, you, Erica, were talking about the cat lady death for the kill list.
Yeah.
Which
I love that. I love that death because now, I mean, you know, Derry's death was bad, but you didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw his, you know, shell at the end, and that was crazy, and that was killer.
Yeah.
But I really liked how, you know, this tough old cat lady, and she's like, I'm gonna shoot him, and she goes inside for her babies, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's in there, he kills her, and then he's like holds like a puppet. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah. No, that was, the Creeper is one of the more original killers that I've seen lately. Just, you know, it looks like a normal, well, it looks like a fucked up human being, I'm sorry. But when you get to the end of the film and you see what it really is, that's just frightening.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely frightening. So I'm definitely alongside you on the Creeper. Very much so.
All right, let's see here. The other, let's see here. Next one I have, and this one can flip back and forth to me from villain to monster, and it's Dracula.
My ancestor.
But, you know, I think he belongs on the monster list because he can change forms and do all these other things. You know, those things, you know, just regular villains don't normally have.
I guess that makes me a monster.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I actually have a vampire bat tattoo on my leg, so.
Oh, that's cool.
In honor of my ancestry. All right.
All right. Then I've got Sam from Trick or Treat.
Gee, bias.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Hey, listen. If I'm biased, you're allowed to have a bias too.
You know, and he's a little monster. I mean, he gets blown to bits, and he can just reattach himself and like go. I mean, it's pretty cool to me. And you know, I like some. You know, and if you aren't celebrating Halloween properly, he's gonna kill you. Well, I mean, I love every bit of that because Halloween's my birthday, and you know, absolutely my favorite holiday ever. So Sam had to make the list.
Yes, and he has to. Now, Joe, and if anybody has not seen this film, go on YouTube and look for it. It's one of those Neil Blomkamp films. He did this little series of short films and put them on YouTube. The film is called The Zygote. And I watched it and was absolutely glued to the TV. What's that?
Is that 20-minute movie?
Yes.
It's about 20.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah,
20
okay.
minutes. They got Dakota Fanning. They got Dakota Fanning and Jose Pablo Cantillo from The Walking Dead to be in this film. And this creature is one of the freakiest. I mean, all it is a creature made out of human body parts.
Right.
I'm not talking about, I mean, it's
crazy.
You just got to see it. I can't even describe it. You want to talk about?
And it's got all these weird hands, and it's like.
Yeah, I think that's what White Zombie meant when they said more human than human. But what do I know?
Maybe.
But if nobody has seen the Zygote, go on YouTube and look it up. It is ingenious. All right.
All right, let's see here. Next one I've got is Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Creature of the Black Lagoon, I mean, he was cool looking. I mean, and not.
Hey, Ben.
I mean, he gets overlooked a lot. So, I mean, I felt he needed to make the list.
Creature from the Black Lagoon is a classic, though. I mean, it's just, everybody knows what it is. And for the time when Universal was making all these movies and all these, movie monsters, it's like, I think, to me, the Creature from the Black Lagoon stood out because it was so unique, as opposed to Dracula, where, he was a vampire. And, I'm sure vampire stories have been going around forever. Frankenstein's monster was this big square-headed thing brought back to life. And you have the Wolfman, which was, a guy with fangs, pointed ears, and hair, a lot of hair. I like that they took to the water and they created this aquatic humanoid being. I loved it. I thought it definitely one of the more unique movie monsters in movie monster history. Oh, Jay's got a quick question. You want to answer it? Do you think Universal's Dark Universe is dead? I hope so.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go forward with that. I mean, I love all the old ones, but some of the new ones they just aren't. Now, I really liked Dracula Untold. I really liked that one, but it didn't do very well. This new Mummy thing didn't do very well. I mean, I just don't think they're gonna spend a lot of money on that.
Well, I also heard what's it called was garbage, the new Mummy. So I haven't wasted time with it.
I watched it. I didn't think it was as bad as what I had been hearing, but it wasn't all that great either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was a movie starring Tom Cruise. I mean, it was an action movie basically. It wasn't really a horror movie. It didn't really feel like a monster movie either.
No, it didn't.
It just felt like they're acting, really, to me. But I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. It entertained me. I wasn't mad. I watched it.
I'll check it out. I mean, yeah. I agree. The number one issue with horror movies in general is reliance on CGI. I agree. Erica and I both agree that the best kind of effects are practical effects. You may be a little more limited, but the thing is the reaction is light years better, and the way it looks on screen is better. I mean, take the whole Alien series. Well, not the whole Alien series, but take the first two movies. In both Alien films, there were no CGI needed for the creatures, at all. And you saw the results. I mean, the Queen alien was two people in a giant alien body, but they still needed animatronics to move certain parts. There's no way two people are going to do all of that. So,
yeah.
But it was all practical. It was all practical. You know?
Yeah.
Now,
I prefer practical.
Yeah, so do I.
And a little bit of CGI is okay from time to time. I mean, like, I'm not total anti-CGI, but when they CGI step out to the max, or, you know, I mean, and I even watch those ridiculous shark movies on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, Sharknado?
Sharknado, Ghost Shark, Sand Shark, Avalanche Shark, all of those. I watch them all. But,
Two-headed shark with feet, you know.
I mean, and those are ridiculous, but I know what I'm getting when I turn it on, and, you know, I don't have any, I'm not fooling myself watching some cinematic awesomeness. This is just for entertainment, and I'm laughing through it.
No, I agree.
All right, should we move on to the next? Next one I have is Leprechaun. And I know that there's a lot of, you know, the Leprechaun can be pretty corny, but he can actually also be kind of badass too, because I mean, you can't really kill him. You can box him up in a box for 10 years. He doesn't even eat anything, and he's still like alive, and he's just like, oh yeah, and you know, I want my gold, and I want to marry your daughter. I mean, that's pretty much all he wants. He wants gold and to marry some chick. That's all it seems like he ever wants. But so I thought that he needed to make the list, if for nothing else, a little bit of you know, comedy relief.
All right. Guilty admission. I have not seen Leprechaun.
You've not seen Leprechaun.
You didn't see Phantasm. I didn't see Leprechaun. I will watch Leprechaun. I will see it.
Yeah, I really like some of them. Some of them are not as good. Yeah, absolutely hated Leprechaun Origins. Yeah, Leprechaun Origins was not that good.
Well, I'll see the original one. I don't know about the sequels. I don't care about that. I just want to see the original.
That is the best one.
Okay.
To me.
I'm sorry, Erica. Not you. Erica Aranda Vasquez is like, what? Yeah, sorry. I'm going to like that comment because I can just hear it being said, you know? So,
yeah.
Okay. I got one for you. And it's not going to be like one of those big name creatures, but way back in the early 80s, there was a movie, and there are going to be people in here who remember it. It was 3D when it was in theaters, called Parasite. And it was Demi Moore's first horror film. In fact, it was her first film, period.
Oh, wow.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. In fact, now I want to find it and buy it because I want to watch it again. But Parasite was a good one. It was this, just a parasite. But it was creepy looking. So,
yeah.
But I mean, somebody had mentioned Extro. I haven't seen that yet, and I'm dying to see it. I've been wanting to see that film for years. I'm going to have to find a copy of that somewhere. We can now, if we want to. There are so many monsters. I think what we're going to do is let's take that into the next feed, because Erica and I can sit here and we could put together lists and lists of movie monsters, because there's too many of them, way too many of them.
Yeah,
but between the two of us, we will come up with a monster list, and I do mean the pun. So, you know, there's so much that we can talk about in the world of horror, and just to even sit and discuss the monsters, because here's a couple I can bring up just real quickly to throw across to you. You've got the Cathoga from The Relic. You've got the Deadly Spawn from Return of the Aliens, Deadly Spawn. You've got the Lost Boys, like Sheila's mentioning, you know, all the different types of vampires. You got the Reapers from Blade 2 with Norman.
You've got Gremlins.
You know. Ghoulies.
Yeah. You've got the puppets from Puppet Master.
Demonic Toys.
Mm-hmm.
You have Belial from Basket Case. You have Aylmer from Brain Damage, which I happen to have on DVD, by the way. It's
Yes,
it's
all
endless.
breed, absolutely.
It's endless. Nightbreed, there's one. Nightbreed. You got to go with Nightbreed. So for everybody who's watching and everybody who will watch, as you know, the idea of our live feeds is that we go tandem, and we will be flowing over into my group, the Horror Punk Steam Wagon Gang, which if you're interested in checking it out, come on over to the dark side. We have coffee, cookie, and cupcakes. Coffee, cookies, and cupcakes, and all that good stuff. But we have the intent of just going back and forth and just doing this as long as we can, because we really think that having the two of us throw our ideas back and forth and being able to talk about this stuff, everybody's going to have a different opinion. I know Erica's got different ideas than I do about some films. Like, please don't kill me, but I'm not a huge Friday the 13th fan. I'm not a huge Halloween fan. I'm not a big slasher fan.
Yeah, and I'm a slasher fan.
Yeah. But between her love for the slashers and my love for the monsters, which actually we both have, there's going to be a lot of discussion that's just going to go back and forth. That it's going to be never ending, and new discussions are always going to pop up out of them. So that's what we want. Is we want to have our discussions with each other and with everybody to bring up new discussions. So whatever you hear us talking about, come up with something that you hear that you think maybe we haven't touched on, because the more we get that, the more we can expand our horizons for the feeds and really touch on more horror subjects that everybody loves. So it's going to be all over the place, but it's going to be an ordered version of all over the place.
Yeah.
We're figuring that out, but we're getting there. Leave
the villains for next time? I think so. Huh?
I do think so, because we have just as big of a list of villains as we do monsters.
And that's where, all the classic, Michaels and Jasons and Freddys. That's when we're going to talk about all them.
Yep, we absolutely will. So again, I am on this Friday, 6 p.m. We will be going live from the Horror Punk Steam Wagon Gang. Take a look us up, come on in, and follow our conversations. And we're just going to go back and forth like this until we can't go back and forth like this anymore. But we're not going to be able to stop going back and forth like this, because there's just too much to talk about. Way too much to talk about.
Yeah.
So, Erica?
Alrighty. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. First one in the books.
Yeah.
Very happy. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. See you Friday. Mwah.